What this is used is really to set the value and vision, and generally it is setting the value and the vision in the eyes of the CEO. So it's a process to basically construct strategy into reality by using both horizontal and vertical alignment. So a lot of times it can be the CEO's 3 to 5 year strategic vision. However, Hoshin Kanri can also be used at the departmental level to set goals, or it could even be used at the project or the program level to really set your vision. So this tool can be used for a variety of methods, but it's really using tactics that you set at the strategic level to really ensure that the alignment of the strategic vision takes place by a set of steps, and we'll talk about those. So what Hoshin Kanri uses is a sample X matrix format. So really what you do is start at the bottom. So at the bottom, what you have are your key strategies. So when you use your key strategies, you use a SMART format. And who can tell me what SMART means? Who knows the acronym for SMART? Somebody that hasn't already won. Go ahead.
Specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time bound.
Okay. It could be attainable or actionable, but I'll give it to you. Actually, from my Toastmasters, it's specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely, but I've seen it as actionable as well, so I'll say you won.
Attainable.
It's coming towards you.
I got
So at the bottom, the key strategies are really to use that SMART format and set what your key strategies are going to be, either for the organization or for your program. The next area is the left area. So these are really the main initiatives that you're going to do, how you're going to achieve the objective. So these are kind of the high-level hows of how you're going to achieve the objective, and I'll show you a couple of examples in a moment. And then at the top are the tactical actions. So what are the steps that you're going to take to get the how done? So this is really how one, right, the lower level how, and then the tactical actions is also known as how to, or the lower level actions. And then the final area is the key metrics. So these are the key metrics that are used to monitor your results. And then at the right, you've really got your resources. So, but this is an example of what's called the X Matrix format. And so here's an example when you're defining the key strategy. So if you're a CEO, maybe you wanted to improve your margin by 5% points by the fourth quarter to get an increase of 250K, or even at a program management level, right? So could be anything. When you're doing the key strategies, you can use Hoshin Kanri along with other tools. I think all of you know the SWOT analysis and other tools like that. So you can actually use it in combination with other tools, or you can just use the Hoshin Kanri tool. The next topic is developing the initiatives. So when you're developing the actual main initiatives, here's some examples. So in this case, maybe you're reducing warranty losses, you're reorganizing product portfolio. So these are kind of high-level hows. Now for the tacticals, developing the tactics, which are the tactical actions at the top here. So here's how you would, for example, reorganize the product portfolios, conduct a portfolio analysis, and then rationalize. So, so basically you're doing the analysis. So this is how you do the how, if that makes any sense. So the how is to reorganize the project portfolios, and in order to do that, you conduct the analysis. So that's what you would put in the tactical actions. The next item is developing the key metrics. So here, in this case, you're looking, some things you can look is margin, warranty, return on investment, time to productivity, all kinds of metrics. So these would be some key metrics that you could draw upon. And then once again, this, all were areas that you use to, build your key strategy. So this is an example, a simplified example of what the X matrix looks like, and when you do your exercises this evening, how you can start drafting it on your flip charts. You could just do a simple X on your flip chart and then map out all the different areas. And this is a much more complex example where you start with the X, and from the X you number them and actually start really mapping out your detail. So this is an example in a flat format. For those of you who are lucky enough to have won a prize tonight, this is a cube for Hoshin Kanri. So it actually opens up and starts with the X matrix, and then it opens up into different expansions of detail of how you do the Hoshin Kanri process. So this is a tool from the ASQ that you can actually purchase from the ASQ bookstore. That for those of you who are lucky enough to have won the prize, you want a 3D version of this. So the next topic I want to talk about is Kaizen. Kaizen, as you see there, means change for the good, or good change, whichever way you want to look at it. So Kaizen is companies move closer to perfection. They use continuous improvement known as Kaizen. And Kaizen is the Japanese principle that improvements come from a series of small incremental gains. So it's not necessarily one large burst, but it could be a series of small gains or small improvements in the process. So this is a great philosophy. Some of the keys to success if you do have a Kaizen event at your organization, or you want to bring Kaizen into your organization, is you do need commitment from leadership. So you do need buy-in from the top, as you would for any initiative, Agile or any other. And you definitely need to have a lean champion on board that will help act as your sponsor and a governing committee. And then you would want to have a lean subject matter expert to lead your Kaizen events. So these are kind of some of the three key things. Not the only things you need, but three of the first things you would want to think about if you were going to go do a Kaizen event. And there's a couple different types of Kaizen. You can have Kaizen workshops that go on for weeks or even a month, where people are in a room every day and all they're doing is, going through and finding ways to improve process maps, so they can be very long and drawn out, or there could be something known as a Kaizen blitz. And Dr. Leiker in his book, The Toyota Way, talks about a Kaizen blitz. You can actually just find any process that needs a quick improvement and use Kaizen to quickly change that. So you could have a 2-hour meeting, an hour meeting, or however short the meeting is, to actually use Kaizen principles to just get that quick burst in productivity that you're looking at by analyzing your current and future state process maps. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to turn it over to you. So we're going to do a group exercise. There's going to be 2 parts to the exercise. What part 1 is going to be is to create a vision for process improvement. So the area could be software development. I know there's a couple of healthcare folks out there in the crowd, so if you want to form into a team and do a healthcare project, that's fine. I'm going to assume most of you are probably going to want to do a software process improvement, but if there's something else you want to do, that's fine. So the first place that I want you to start is by using Hoshin Kanri to really set your vision. So using the X matrix format to really set your vision, the how you're going to do it, the detailed steps, and then the metrics you're going to use to capture at the end to see whether or not you really improve the process or not. And there's going to be some key people on each team. Of course, you're going to need a team leader. That's the person that, when it's all said and done, is going to present. They will be your presenter. The presentations will be about 5 or 10 minutes each. Also, if there's any issues or things that you need from me, the team leader can come to me for any problems. The next person will be the lean subject matter expert. You can pick the person in the group to do that. For some of you that won the cubes, you might want to volunteer for that role since you've got the cube. The next important role is somebody who's going to play the customer, right? Remember, the voice of the customer is important, so you're going to have that person on the team that's really going to drive the what when you're setting that vision, so your high-level goals for your project. And then the business champion to support your team. So if you get into areas of conflict or people that are having problems getting their minds around Lean Six Sigma, you need that champion to come back and say, well, we really need this, and this is why, right? So we need to have a champion on each team. And then the rest of the folks will be the team. We have quite a few people here. We've got like 3 easels, so there's also boards as well. Normally, I would say probably groups of 10 will probably work. We'll see how you guys self-form based on your areas of interest. And then part 2 will be, once you set your vision, now you're going to do a quick Kaizen Blitz exercise. So basically, find a process flow, just, a simple software project, software flow or some other flow that you come up with, and find a way to improve it quickly based on your vision. And you can be as creative as you want here. And I do have handouts for each one of the exercises as well. Let me give you the handouts. So I do have hard copies of the exercise as well. So just as a show of hands, how many folks want to do healthcare? Because I know that there is a couple of healthcare folks that I talked with. Who would want to do a healthcare project? Raise your hands. Okay. So all the healthcare people maybe can form over in that corner there on the right-hand side. So let's go ahead and start once you get your handouts. And how many folks want to do software development? Raise your hands. How many software development people? So they'll probably be, the other 2 teams will be software development then, so I'll let you self-form maybe at an easel. So each one of you just sort of self-form into your own groups at the easel. So we'll say we'll have 3 teams since there's 3 easels. Let's try for that. And if that's
We're looking at what is the objective. Do you assign a football table?
Well, it has to be organized football tournament, charity, raise, give
So there's multiple down here, multiple and all.
Well, I don't know.
Here, we're going to raise 50K. Raising 50K, foosball tournament's going to be one line of revenue behind that. If we want to put anything else, it's an additional line. All right, so we had a bit of a different background with every member of our group, so we went a little bit different. We didn't focus on software development. We were inspired by the foosball table, and we decided that we were going to help BayALN, and so we came up with 2 primary objectives, 2 different what statements. One was to raise 50K, so we're going to raise $50,000 in the course of this. I figured everybody would be okay with that. And the second one is to increase membership, because we really like what we're doing here. We want more people to be involved, get out in the community more. So we focused a little bit more on the first objective, which, to go into a little more detail, 50K for the organization, and we did have a timely component to it by the end of May. So that's what we're going to measure back against. The way that we're going to do that is hosting a foosball tournament. So there's a lot that can go into that. We try to keep it relatively basic, but ways that we're going to, the actual deliverables, the things that we're going to do to generate that revenue, entry fees, sponsorships, raffles, food and beverage servicing, merchandise, sponsorship of the tables, t-shirts, players, raffles, all kinds of things going on there. And the things that we're going to measure about it, the signups per week leading up to the event, raffle tickets sold over different periods of time, pre-orders, and then I guess that's kind of where it cuts off for that first one, where we kind of treated both of these objectives together. So if we're looking at the membership increase as well, we're trying to also promote that through the foosball tournament, pairing it with another initiative for different advertising, and we chose email campaigns and some social media campaigns that are going to be involved with that. And part of it that we're going to run through the advertising is discounts and promotions. So rather than waiting for the event to kind of get in the minds of people and get our product in front of them, we're going to do more of it proactively and really encouraging social media. The things that we're going to measure about that, not only new signups at the event, obviously, but social media interactions and tracking different conversion rates from how that relates to interest in the group and new member sign up. So that's it from a high level in our X diagram. And then we made some assumptions that we've run this event before, and we did it all, point of. So we waited till everybody got on site. So in our pre-event, all we did was focus on getting sponsorships, getting people to pay for some things. Where in our new flow, we're taking on early bird specials. We're being more proactive through the marketing, through the campaigns, to get more of that revenue in earlier, things that we can recognize earlier. Whereas at the actual event, it's going to be primarily, a few pricing differentiators. So we're doing early bird specials, group discounting, those sort of things. So at the event, it's tailored down. We're still getting some of the revenue, but it's a little bit simpler.
Yay.
So a little bit different than software development.
Great, thank you, Kent, and thank you, team. Great job, very inspiring for BayALN. Can't wait for the foosball tournament. Who would like to go next? I think, okay, yes.
Okay, so we actually took a real world problem, and it's a software development problem. So imagine a digital wallet, that's our product, and and the issue that we have is that we have difficult to use or implement requirements that are fuzzy from our customers, and we have 3 different customers who are using the same wallet. So as part of it, we have issuing banks, we have merchant banks, and we have end users. So that's our problem. So our key objective was to find common ground in requirements between our 3 customer personas and produce requirements that are acceptable to all 3 customer personas. So how we thought our first main initiatives were, first we would analyze all the different requirements because they're done in silos. So they're not all done by the same people. Our sales and marketing people are different for those 3 groups. So we would analyze all the requirements to see where those differences or similarities were. Then we would do a presentation to our internal sales and marketing groups together so that they could understand what those differences or similarities were. And then ultimately we would reconcile the differences to try to come up with more common sets of requirements that would serve the needs of all 3 personas. So our key tactics was first to do a thorough analysis study. Then we thought we would actually, when we did our presentation to the sales and marketing folks, that we would do innovation games so that they could actually come up with, see for themselves what new ideas they could come up with. And then we wanted to verify the conflict or verify our assumption that there was really conflicts in these requirements or that there wasn't, so that we can understand if we're really on track, if this was the real problem. And that one of the ways we would do that is to prioritize the requirements or the conflicts. And then our key metrics were ultimately that the next time we did requirements gathering, we would have a greater percentage of conversions among the requirements from the 3 different personas. But that's what we came up with.
Thank you. That's a nice product. I think the Winklevoss twins would really enjoy this one. I heard they're the richest owners of digital money these days. So last but not least, we'll go in the back corner here. I think this is our healthcare group. We've got Andrea presenting.
Thank you, everybody. We worked in healthcare, and we had a very cross-functional team. We had people who were employees of healthcare, former employees of healthcare, patients, urban patients, and rural patients of healthcare.
We had a lawyer, too.
And we had a lawyer, too, who's going to take care of everybody in healthcare. Okay, so the umbrella that we noticed for healthcare problems is that everything is a silo. You go to one practitioner and then you have to go to another and another and another. So we identified certain parts of that, like that you have to do redundant paperwork, and there's no voice of customer. Some practitioners that you really need, which may be less expensive, are not covered by your insurance. So there's an overuse of the emergency room, which is very expensive, and there's lack of preventive care. So what we identified that will probably help first off is would be information sharing across the providers, coordinated by our stewardship of healthcare, a consultant that takes care of one patient. So it's more of a partnership between the providers, the patient, and the insurance company. How to do that was to implement electronic medical records, telemedicine, a healthcare concierge for each patient, and then anything that we kept on, we were going to do a value mapping stream to make sure that we could find out exactly how to do it. The metrics were going to be shorter wait times when you go to visit the doctor, fewer visits per complaint, fewer long distance trips if you're in a rural location, because when you have to go to something who's not a general practitioner, you have to drive for 2 or 3 hours. And then fewer days from when you call with the complaint till you get the appointment. Other ways that we would measure that is by seeing the numbers of preventive vaccines taken place, volunteering for blood pressure, cholesterol, BMI, and blood sugar.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, team. Good presentation. Great job, everybody. I'm going to wrap up with a few concluding statements and then turn it back over to the organizers. So if you could all just get back into your seats, that'd be great. So, just a few concluding ideas. As we saw, that Lean Six Sigma tools can be used to optimize software life cycles, but also a number of other processes. So it doesn't necessarily have to be used in manufacturing, doesn't necessarily have to be used in software development. It can be used across a wide range of initiatives, even including the BayALN. And creating vision and strategy can happen by using the Hoshin Kanri. So we all learned how to use the Hoshin Kanri tool in our groups. So I think everybody's got that one down to a science. So that's a great tool. And you can have the modified Kaizen events, which all of you did as well, incorporating that into the Hoshin Kanri to really see the quick burst of productivity. If you really did a full-on Kaizen event, like I said, it would take weeks or sometimes even up to a month with those workshops where you're really mapping out all the value stream maps end to end. But in this case, we really just were able to capture them quickly using the Hoshin Kanri format. I do have a Excel spreadsheet of the Hoshin Kanri as well as some other metrics such as a SWOT. So if you drop your business card in this cup, either one of these cups up here, I will email it to you. And I thank you all for doing such a great job on your projects and being such a great audience.